Little trigger warning to start before starting this video. Like always, I'm a random person that you see on the internet, and feel free, if you don't like this podcast, to go to see another content or just to swipe to the next one, to something that would interest you. So this week I want to talk to you about confidence, and confidence not as a personality trait, but something you choose. So first of all, let's pause on this idea we all carry about confidence. We treat it like something we born with. Oh, I'm confident, I'm not. Like eye color or height. But confidence isn't a trait. It's not fixed. It's actually a choice. And maybe more than that, it's an act of belief. Of belief in ourselves, first of all, but also in others. Because you're gonna feel judged through their eyes, through the image they send back to you when they see you. So it's a perception of them seeing you that will also make you feel confident or not. So confident isn't waiting to feel ready to do something. It's actually just deciding to be ready. Hi, I hope you are all doing well this week, wherever this episode finds you. Welcome to the third episode of this podcast, Cayantalks. So today I want to go deep down into a subject with you that we carry with us all our lives. And I want to talk about it with you because I feel it's actually a genuine tool that sometimes we think we might like from it or may not have it at all. However, I really do think we all have this inside ourselves. And I really believe that we can all learn how to access from it and grow from it. It's not something that is always visible, but it really shapes how we show up in the world, in relationship in general, at work, and really within ourselves. And that is confidence. So yes, as I was saying, is really something we often believe we either have or we don't, especially for people that, tend to be more shy. But I can assure you, even if you feel like the worst version of yourself, the most insecure person right now, we all carry confidence inside of us. Like really, even if it's in a quiet place. And we can really all learn how to access it, like strengthen it and grow from it. Especially on the day where you're not gonna feel the best version of yourself, gonna feel a bit like lost or low, or have like this darker thoughts on some days. But you can really learn how to access it, and this is what I want to share with you today. So let's start with this first thought, and this first tool that I feel to understand it, we need to really go back to the premise of confidence. So this first thought is confidence isn't inherited. It's something you actually build. The thing is, from a young age, when we're born, there are like social factors that would predetermine and shape how easily we would be able to express our confidence to the world. For instance, one factor that would tend to play a really important role in your ability to become confident is the culture you are born into. So in some countries, for instance, like kids from a really young age would be encouraged to really believe in themselves, to speak up, to share ideas. So here, confidence, like in this country, would be really perceived as a value, as something that is really positive, and that would be really nurtured and cultivated as part of the country dynamic and educational system. And in some other culture, the focus would be more on humility and improvement. So confidence here would not tend to be perceived as a value, and it would be not valorized in this way because the mentality, the culture of this country, for instance, is more you can always improve, you can always do better. So you recognize this system because, for instance, the in the school system, in the education, like the notation system would tend to be more strict, for instance. But there is not good or bad system. It's really just two different way perceiving things, and there are some good texts. Actually, there have been like some studies about it, and there are just like some good texts that you can take from one system or one other system. I'm just sharing that with you right now for you to really be able to understand the early age of confidence and how it could have impacted you as a child. And this like different system and how they can impact a child is not something I'm inventing. Like really, it's something there have been really studies on the subject by psychoanalysts, by professor. Like for instance, you have this the work of this famous professor. Like it's a professor that actually teaches at Stanford, and I think it's also like a psychoanalyst. His name is Albert Bandura. And he has been doing a lot of researches on learning behavior, like especially like on kids, and like to analyze different type of model and how it could like it really impact the child. And something that has really been highlighted in his research, confidence for child from a young age would really grow through mastery and feedback. You also have the work of like another psychoanalyst, Erik Erikson, that really analyzed psychosocial developments, and it really highlighted that support like during the formative years of a child would really impact his capacity to feel confident or no. So we really see here that confidence is really something that you learn from, and that it's like your social environment that impacted it. You know, one other factor that can really also have an impact and impacted your confidence as a young age is, of course, you know, the love you receive like from your family, from your friend, from your teacher. And this we don't choose, so it really depends as well, especially the love from your family. You never know, you don't choose your family, but it's also really impact you as a child. And you know, like from my personal experience, I had the chance to be able like to grow in really a loving family, and you know, always feel I was like being supported by my friends. And I also had like really teacher that was like, you know, put in my way in some way that I felt like so inspired like by some of them, and you know, like some that really gave me the test, actually the test for teaching things, for the test for literature, the test for philosophy, the test for learning, like, and I'm for history, like, you know, and I'm so grateful for this. But what I mean is like, capacity to be from like, you know, to feel some support from certain people, and especially from your closest ones and your family, and especially when you're kids, would really impact you also, and grow your confidence like from a young age. It doesn't mean you're gonna maybe like wake up every day feeling I share an example about myself, but it doesn't mean I'm waking up every day and I felt like the best version of myself. And you know, we all have time that, you know, where we feel more fragile, and all go like, especially while growing up and after being a kid, and maybe in your teenage years, and maybe a little bit also after, you all go like through trauma, and you know, through maybe exam, or like through child trauma that could like maybe make you a bit more vulnerable, or you know, fragile at certain time. But what I really wanted to show you in this first thought, in like this first point, is that keep in mind that even though there are like social factors that might impact your capacity to be confident or not from a young age, culture, education, social environment, child trauma, you can always learn how to believe in yourself and to be confident. Like, this is not something that is fixed, and this is just a mindset and a perception of the self. And for this, I actually want to close this first chapter with a quote that I really like from Albert Bandura that I just talked to you about. And he says the thing, I'm gonna read it to you. Self-belief does not necessarily ensure success, but self-disbelief actually spawns failure. I think it's a beautiful way of saying that you should always learn how to trust yourself and believe in yourself. So my second thought on this podcast that I want to share with you is comparison kills confidence. So I want to make it clear. Confidence is not what you see on TV. It's not the one fixed image you're gonna see on social media. Because actually there is this thing with social media, and I am going to use like violent words to describe it, but for me, like really social media, it's a tumor for confidence. Really, it's a way of your self-trust and self-worth, because you're gonna constantly compare yourself to a fake reality. And I actually do really feel sorry for the young generation, that because you grew up really with like that perfect feed in mind, and especially TikTok or Instagram, I don't know why, but you always end it in your feed when you go to your research bar, like with people that seems to be so cute and have this like perfect image, like smiling all the time, and you're just gonna compare yourself like with something that is completely fake, and it's really a destruction of confidence, of your own confidence, because you're always gonna compare like this perfect feed, this perfect fixed image, or maybe moving image, but whatever, but you're gonna compare your worth with something that it's just an image, a video, but that is not the real life of the person. So keep in mind that it's social media. Influencer that you're gonna see online, that you're gonna see on your feed, when you're like in your research feed, are really paid to smile. They are paid to promote products, have a perfect cute life, drink matcha, do pilates, have like perfect white smile, seems to be smiling on all the pictures and seems to be always happy. But let me clarify and tell you something. This is fake. Let's be clear on this. It is completely fake. This is not real life. And let me tell you something. Most of these people that you're gonna see online, as I can promise you one thing, they are insecure as you in real life. It's like me starting this podcast. Like you might think, she is really confident and like talking. But of course, there are some days that I'm not gonna feel the best version of myself. And that's the thing with life. Life, it's not perfect. It's rough. It's real. It's raw. It's fearing things. It's feeling emotion. It's having doubts and learning. And that's the beauty of it. To be confident, first of all, you need to learn this. Beauty is in the imperfection. And I am going to repeat this sentence one more time, even if I'm sure you have been hearing it 1,000 times. But that's a very, very important sentence to me. Beauty is in the imperfection. So it doesn't mean that you need to let you down, to be unsatisfied with how you look, how you feel, and just accept it. But it means that it's time to accept the reality of yourself. Know what you can improve, work on the best version of yourself you can be, do your homework, and move on. And that's the thing, like you will feel confident if you go out there and face the real world, not by scrolling on your feed. And I often knew from what I just said, I do love green tea. I have like absolutely nothing against Pilates as well. And honestly, like sometimes like from influencer, you can have some really good takes to take. And I know some of these people some of them are doing really like incredible work and helping a lot of people online, maybe on a specific topics. But I just wanted to make a little trigger warning on this, and just keep in mind that you should always just pick the one that you think are inspiring for you and really give you like the best knowledge, and just stop scrolling for the rest. And I just wanted to remind to everyone listening like to this podcast right now that like social media is not real life. Take it as an intake. Don't compare yourself with just like people that seems to be always cute and perfect and always smiling. No, that's just not real, baby. You're worth more than this. And you're just real. And real is like so much more interesting and fascinating. Of course, like everything, like you just should like make the best out of it, and your own creation of what you think you find interesting and are good takes for you. But here in this episode, we are like really talking about confidence and how to develop confidence. And one of the first thing in our generation to work on your confidence that can really help you every day, it's really stop scrolling and stop comparing yourself to what you see online. And I'm mostly saying that for my girls right now, for all the little girls, for all the girls like that are listening to this podcast, because I know that sometimes the woman body, how you can see it online, could be, really rash and really cruel sometimes also very fake. So, baby, just go back to the real life, not the online version. Go outside, go for a walk, go for a run, see real people, talk to real people, and set your own goals. Because here's the thing, mindset and how you're nourishing your mind is what would hold you when nothing else around you is familiar. It's your inner home, and you don't want your inner home to be full of online scrolling and fake reality. Because if that home is like really filled with doubts because of what you're gonna see on social media, or comparison and fear, you really will never feel safe or good enough no matter where you go. But if that home is built on real life, on experiences, on knowledge that you learn from books, history, culture, stories, not ego, but real knowledge that matters to you and like really the human being that you want to become, then you're already winning. So this was my second thought. I want to share a third thought on confidence that I think can change your perception of it, or just helping you in the moment that maybe you're doubting or you're not really sure of yourself. So I want to talk to you about the will to power. This idea of will to power, actually it's an idea that I've been introduced by the philosopher Nietzsche. And I talked to you about it also like in my first podcast, Go Where You Feel Alive, baby. If you want to listen to it, it's available also on YouTube, on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So let's come back to Nietzsche. So indeed, Nietzsche didn't believe we were born like fully formed. He believed we become. And he called it the will to power. So in French, la volonté de puissance. His idea of will to power is sometimes misunderstood because it's not about dominating others, but it's really about self-overcoming. The inner drive to grow, create, and become more than what we were yesterday. So he wrote this thing that I'm gonna share it with you right now. Life, to me, is the instinct for growth, for duration, for accumulation of force, for power. So la vie, à mes yeux, est un instant de croissance, de durée, de force, de puissance. So this inner force inside every human being, like pushing us to grow, to expand, to rise beyond what we were yesterday. So to him, life itself was the instinct to evolve, to really become stronger, and not over others, but over our own limitations. And this is how really you build confidence, little by little, by going through life, by doing your homework of being curious, of learning new things, of traveling, of meeting new people, of taking the opportunity when like the opportunity presents itself. To say really yes to life, even when it's hard, like even when you don't want to wake up, even when you don't want to do something. Confidence for Nietzsche wasn't about arrogance. It was about courage. To create value where there was none. Like to create value, to set your boundaries. Like to say, I will become who I do feel I am inside myself. So I think this idea of will to power, it's really a strong tool that you should come back when you feel low or not confident, on the day where you doubt yourself. Really think about who you want to become. Really think about this version of yourself, this idea. Just push a little bit your limit, set goals and go to this idea. Go to chase this idea, to really chase this version of yourself that you believe in. Because inside yourself, you already are. You just need to set up these goals, to do this little action to prove yourself that you are actually this version, this person, and that you are enough. So if you doubt yourself, you can always come back to the will to power. And remember that it's here, inside you. So I'm just realizing right now that this episode is actually already quite long. And I'm considering now that I'm just gonna do it maybe into like 2 parts, because we just hear this word like, oh, confidence, but we don't necessarily see it as a tool. And I think it's something you should always like in your little like toolbox and think about it when you feel your lack from it. And I still have a lot of things to tell you on the subject. This is a really large subject that I feel very fascinating in some ways, and there are a lot of things and like some tips and maybe some text and example that I still want to share with you. So for this week, I will just stop here. But I promise I will continue on the subject next week. So for now, I just like finish on this quote to conclude this episode. It's also a quote from Nietzsche. You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. And I believe that you don't need the world to validate you before you begin. You need you to begin anyway, to begin somewhere. So this week, I want you to walk like someone who belongs in the story he's writing. Even if your voice shakes, even if you don't feel ready for some things, even if nobody claps, because confidence, it's not a personality trait. It's a choice. And it's waiting for you on the other side of showing up. So go out there. Do the things, become the version of yourself that you only imagine. And thank you so much for, if you make it until there, if you're still in this video, if you're still watching this podcast or listening to it, thank you so much for spending this time with me and listening. And if you like this podcast and want to listen more or see more of this video, please subscribe, hit the 5-star buttons and save this video. Until next week, this is Emma. This is Cayantalks. Same space, same truth, same fire. Until next week. Go where you feel alive, baby. Kisses.